Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with our good friends Josh Herron, Lee Pitts, and Tom Ott, and then we're adding Lake Martin and Jordan Lake with our good friend and pro staffer Gentry Gordy. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with our good friend Tom Ott up there at Guntersville, that man that makes things happen on the water. Tom, what's going on in the big lake?
We've had some windy conditions. I guess everybody knows about that. So, it's been a really good spinnerbait bite here lately. Spinnerbait's been doing a lot of work for me. Crankbait, square bill, those kind of things. But now that we're starting to get a little calmer conditions, we're getting those cool nights. Water temperatures are really starting to drop down, and those fish are getting real active. So, just a little Guntersville, little secret that I like to throw out there: a 1/4 ounce buzz bait around these grass edges can be deadly right now. I mean, I'm talking some nice fish, a lot of fish, and sometimes if you get a little cloud cover, you can do that all day. But these fish are really still moving around an awful lot right now. I mean, it's getting froggy out there. The mats are starting to break up a little bit. We're getting some nice blowholes in them, and everybody knows what that means if you've been on Guntersville. So, get your big stick, get you some heavy line, get you a couple of, snag-proof frogs, and get out there and catch some of these big old fish. But before you do that, go hit those grass edges early in the morning, throw a spinnerbait, little buzz bait action. These fish are really active right now, man.
Is there anything in particular that they want to look for on those grass edges, or is it just cover the ledge edge and cover the grass edges? What should they be looking for?
Man, I tell you, Deno, I like to look at the breaks. I want to see the breaks under the water. So, anywhere that you're getting some kind of a current break, if you're on the edges, and obviously bait fish activity. I like the areas that's got the little bit of break, and that's where the grass breaks are. That's where your fish are going to be hanging out. They're just looking for ambush spots, just like any other predator. Go to those areas where you really wrecked them in the spring. If you wrecked them in the spring, you're going to take care of them as well. So, those are really simple tips. I know that fall fishing gets a little tough, and it can be very frustrating. But we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from some real nice wintertime fishing. The swim bait bites really starting to come on. But I mean, let's take advantage of some of these ratfish. The flipping bite's still been pretty good. The crappie bite's starting to come on, and it just gets better from here up until really until end of December, January, February. That's really where those crappie are starting to move in, start do their spawning thing. And then right after that, we got bass spawn. So, it's going fast. Get out there.
Well, Tom, as always, man, we appreciate it. Thanks for the time. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with the crappie king of Weiss Lake, Lee Pitts, who knows a thing or two about bass fishing as well. Lee, let's hit Neely Henry first this week. Tell me what's going on at Neely Henry.
Neely's looking pretty good right now. It's from the crappie end of it, we're starting to pick up a lot of fish out on the ledges. It's a little mixture of both. We're out there vertical dropping live bait down on some of these brush piles out there deep. But then, too, some of the docks in that 4, 6, 8 foot of water is starting to hold some good fish, too. It was a lot of the small fish are on those docks, but now the bigger fish are starting to roll in. All you guys that like to shoot docks, get out there and look for some of those not necessarily the shallower docks right now, but that 4, 6, 8 foot, somewhere close to the creek swings, get around some of that. That's holding some fish. But all up and down from 77 downriver on up around, close to the bend, these crappie are starting to get on some of these deeper brush piles and stumps and starting to wad up on them pretty good. So Neely's looking really good from the crappie end.
What about the bass bite? We've been hearing a little bit about some crankbaits. Maybe a top water bait here or there. What are you hearing out of the lake?
Yeah, I think that 1/4 ounce buzz bait, it's getting some bites early. A lot of guys are throwing something that they can kind of stop and sit still and just pop it along out there. But that crankbait bite, you can pretty much just put a square bit in your hand and just travel all day and catch fish.
All right, let's go to Weiss. Tell me what's going on in your crappie bite up there. I know you've been doing some trips. What have your clients been putting in the boat?
We're catching some fish at Weiss. We've had, like I said, this week, a lot of wind issues that the way that the lake is laid out, there's nowhere you can go get a break from this wind. The way it's been hitting us, it's just blowing straight down the gut. So that's been one of the main issues this week. But the fish we're catching are good quality fish right now. We're not catching the numbers, and I think in the next week or so that's going to pick up. Still live bait, vertical, that 12, 14, 16-foot water. And even some of the, still taking the jig with that slab slayer, the miniminder, and the Bobby Garland. It's been good this week too. But wherever the wind will allow you to get on these brush piles and some of this standing timber, the key to it is you've got to put it up against that wood before they're going to bite it. They're not real aggressive. They're not going to chase. So, with things kind of slowing down with that wind a little bit, giving us a break, it's picking up.
Yeah, and I'm sure the bass bites up against the bank around some wood and some of that kind of stuff too with this bait going crazy. Hey, Lee, as always, man, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Talk to you next week.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. Hey, time for us to connect with Josh Herron, our friend from down there on that bottom end of the Coosa River. Josh, what's going on Lay Lake and Logan Martin these days?
Man, it's the glory days. We're losing one lake lifer one cold morning at a time. Stuff's getting right with the world. And we're regaining our peace. And the fish are actually starting to bite. So we're getting into the water temps to where the spinner baits and the little buzz baits and all the stuff that's fun to run around, throw really fast, and cover a lot of ground is starting to play. Shad are starting to move up in these creeks, and the fish are starting to come with them. So, man, it's setting up to be a really good fall.
Yeah, I know up here at Neely Henry, we'd seen where you were starting to see some bait fish into the pockets, and then now they've kind of moved out a little bit. What are we seeing of the movement there?
Well, I mean, once the water temps get around that 71, 72, this fish start making a really hard push. And that's where we're heading, and we're getting there pretty quick with these cool nights. So, I mean, man, it's a cool time of the year. You can run around, throw swim bait, you throw, like I said, a buzz bait, a spinner bait. Your options are either throw little bitty quarter ounce stuff or shock and all, throw something big. So, I mean, you can start throwing like big mag drafts, big dippers, spark shads, like stuff that's in that 6 and 7 inch range, or you kind of need to stay in that 2 to 3 inch, like little Kitex, stuff like that. So it's either try to match it or shock and all.
Well, I know what you would do. You'd be out there throwing the big stuff. What area of the lakes do they want to look? Are they going to look in the middle of the lakes? Is it time to start running up the rivers? What are we looking at?
I mean, just the way water flow generally works this time of year. I mean, your mid to upper half's going to cool before your lower half. So the flat, shallower areas of the lake traditionally cool faster than your big, wide open bodies. That mid to upper half's going to be an area to kind of concentrate on right now, and that's what I would look at, man.
Which one of the two lakes is fishing better right now? I know Lay Lake's going to get a bunch of attention with the Elite Series coming next year, but which one of the two lakes would you recommend the guys go fish?
Logan Martin, 100%. I'd rather have a doctor's appointment than go to Lay Lake right now.
Well, as always, Josh has got something colorful for us. We appreciate everything, Josh, all your expertise, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. A new feature that's joining our fishing reports, Lake Martin and Jordan Lake, with our good friend and pro staffer, Gentry Gordy. Gentry, let's start with Lake Martin. Tell us what's going on down there on that big body of water.
All right, I was down there last weekend fishing the Angler for Autism tournament they had out of Wind Creek. It's actually the first time I've been there. They were supposed to start dropping the water, I think the middle of October, but it's already started to fall. That's what I look for. We start to get these cooler nights, the water starts to drop, that lake turns on fire. However, water temps were still 75, 76. The bait, this time of year we all look for the bait for the next 2 months. The bait wasn't in the back of the pockets, but it was starting to make its way in the mouths of some of the, the pockets midway back. First thing in the morning, they would light up a jerk bait, but it was a small window. And of course, you can catch them throughout the day, but the bite was really on a jerk bait. It's first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon. Nothing that we saw had the big largemouth or the big spots have moved up shallow yet. Started out in the Blue Creek area, probably had one keeper. It wasn't until we started getting more center of the lake, or center of Blue Creek pocket. That's a huge pocket. It's bigger than some of the lakes. Then we started seeing a little more bait and a little more activity.
Well, that's a pretty good bit of information for Lake Martin. Tell us what's going on at Jordan Lake at the same time.
Jordan is almost identical. The water temperatures are the same. And people that fish Jordan know, I think there's more bait fish in Jordan than there is Lake Martin. And that's what you got to follow. They are not in the back of the pockets, but some of your bigger creeks, they're at the mouth and they're mid creek. The shad are. Rattle trap is actually getting bit pretty heavy up there, or lipless crankbait, I guess, and like a big walking bait. First thing in the morning, late in the afternoon, they're starting to really turn on to it.
I know Jordan can be a very current related place, and a lot of people tend to run up the river. Is that kind of the thing that people are doing, or is it something that you kind of want to stay in the main lake, middle of the lake?
Yeah, people's gonna run up to the north end of that lake. It don't matter what time of year. And your bait's up there, but I think as you start to see, as it starts to cool off a little bit, I think some of your bigger pockets on Jordan with a more concentrated area of shad will probably play a big role.
Well, Gentry, appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dana.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 8th, presented by Mercury. Thanks to the guys, everything that they do to share with us. Welcome, Lake Martin residents and Jordan Lake fishermen. Happy to have you. Don't forget to stop on by Bucks Island if you're looking for that boat that you want to get out on the water with, whether it's a pontoon or a fishing boat. We've got it. Talk to the sales staff. We got parts if you need it. Service, we can take care of you, keep you on the water. And then if you're looking for that tackle, talk to the people in the loft. We appreciate everything that you do, being a part of Bucks Island, because you are the best part of our family. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again next week.